Hello everyone, welcome to Codeverse. We are new home for full stack development basics and real world. I'm super excited because this is my very first video, and today we are starting with a classic beginner project building a counter app in React using the useState hook. Firstly, what is React? React is a powerful JavaScript library for building dynamic user interfaces. One of the things that makes React awesome is its approach to managing state, and for that we use something called hooks. Now today we will cover 3-4 points, like setting up our React project. Second, making a simple counter which must have functions like increment, decrement and reset. Some tips for beginners. Let's set up our project first. Now let's set up our project. Firstly, we have to open our terminal and we have to run npx create react app and the name counter. Also make sure to install Node.js and npm to run this. And let's here we would first initialize React app, then we would start making different components. And after creating React app, delete all non-used files for better understanding. I mean to say, let's see. I will delete the files which are not needed for our project. Let's start our development server, then we will cd counter and then npm start. Now inside our counter app we will see a bunch of files and folders. The main file we will have to edit is source app.js. Let's open it up and clear out everything inside the div in the return statement so we have a clean state. Now let's delete everything that is not needed. I mean to say the files that are not needed. Now let's start with app.js and index.js. You know the shortcut RFC for React for the basic template or basic code snippet. Now let's go. Remove the imports that are not needed and leave that app.js import and app.css import because we will need it later. Now here firstly we have to create a counter and its button, then we have to create or implement functions to it. So let's see how to implement functions like increment, decrement. Firstly let's add counter app heading with h1 tag and write a small paragraph for that or a small description if you need to. Now add a counter, that is function of counter. So firstly, let's build the function. This is props. Firstly, we will have to set the prop, that is count and set count. Set count is a function and count is the normal count that a counter counts. We have to use useState. For using useState, we have to import React useState from React. After using useState, put the value to 0 as our counter starts from 0. We have put a count function in it, function or variable, in which the counter stores its count. We have to create two buttons too, one for increment, one for decrement. So let's create an increment button, and which have attributes like on click. After clicking on increment button, it can increase the count. It should increase the count. So let's create three buttons. First is increment, second is decrement, and the third is reset. Reset button will reset the count. Now we would have to make different functions for that. We will have to create different functions for that. Firstly, let's create increment function. Here we have to set the count to count plus 1. Set count under bracket count plus 1. So the increment function is ready. Similarly, we have to make or create different functions too, such as decrement functions and reset function. Const decrement, create an arrow function. Set count, here we would set count minus 1, and the third, that is reset function, here we would set count 0 again, which will reset the whole counter mechanism. So as we have seen here, let's run this. Run our React app. The site is can't be reached. Now let's see the problem and let's try to resolve it. Firstly, we are getting a problem for that reset function. We haven't used it well. This is giving our counter. Good start. And all the functions are working fine. Now let's add some CSS, or let's style something to look it more professional. We would have to first create a div with a class name, or we would have to update the div with a class name. And here we are given the class name counter. So let's start styling the counter first. Let's start with the body. Our display is equal to flex. Remove flex direction. Random center, okay. Justifying content center, no. Now after the styling, import the app.css file inside app.js so that it can render the styles. And so let's do that. Justify content center, I have to remove that all. Let align content center. Random center. Yeah. Now have to redesign it. Now design h1 tags. Similarly design the p tag for different player, and similarly the h2 tag, and add margins font size to h2 tag too. Now we would have to design the counter button too, giving a padding of 10px and 20px, border none, border radius 5px, border color white, font size 1 rem, cursor pointer, margin 0, 10px. And let's change the color of h1 a little bit, which can look attractive and elegant. Let's style it well. Level difference. Now we will have, now let's check the final style. Looks nice. Now we can see that the counter is working. All the functions are working, that is increment, decrement and reset. So let's move on to our next video with new topic tomorrow. Till then, like, share and subscribe.